OzGIS has facilities for generating and analysing site catchments. So this lets you look at the demographics around your university or your hospital or your shopping centre and so on. So it's another application, and what we're using is a base map. Now the base map is a latitude-longitude map. It's usually a census data map. And what you can do is define your sites. Now the sort of thing you might do is overlay, say, markers from sites that you've already got, and I've got some shopping centres here for Canberra, which is what we're looking at, and the usual sorts of things you can put up. Up your overlays, and you might put your names on for the same shopping centres, and centres again. Now, let's say we're looking at a circumstance where you want to decide where to put a new retail outlet. So you want to have a look at the existing sites or what's available at the various shopping centres. So you define your sites and you give them some name and position it here on the shopping centre. Now you define the catchments in terms of contours around the site. So let's look, for example, at a contour, say 2 kilometres, and you apply a weight. So within 2 kilometres of your shopping centre, you might reckon that 80% of people who live in that area are going to go to that shopping centre. So here's our contour. And similarly, we can do other sites. So we'll add one down here. Name. Down at Mawson Shopping Centre, and within a radius of 5 kilometres, you might reckon that half the people are going to go to Mawson. And similarly, let's get carried away here. Let's third one in. And say at Dixon, we're going to within 3 kilometres, we reckon that half the people are going to go to it, and so on for all the sites you want. Now you can modify the contours, and typically this means you're probably going to add more. So let's add another contour at that one up here, and let's give it a radius of say 4 kilometres, and within 4 kilometres we think that half the people are going to go to that shopping centre. So we've got another contour here. Now you often put in contours just as circles, but you can also digitise contours if you want to. So at say Mawson down here, we'll digitise another contour, and at contour weight say 0.9. So 90% of your people you think are going to go to the Mawson shopping centres. Now, what the site ends up being defined as is being defined in terms of the underlying zones. So once again, we can put an overlay on if we want to, and we can overlay, say, names from our base map we were using, which was Canberra. Zones, And now we've got all the names of the underlying polygons, the underlying zones that we're going to use. And the way you define the sites is for each of your sites. So site CC, it's going to come out with a list of the underlying zones and a weight according to the area of the zone that's within the contour and the weight you've given. So the end of this process of definition is to generate your catchment file zones and weights, and you can use a different file if you want, but we'll probably use the base one we've got. And now we've defined all those zones, so now we can go away and get ready to map our data. So you can output the zones and weights we just calculated to something called a combined file, and let's just call it sites combined file. Number of sites C, and we can now use that combined file to amalgamate up base attribute data, census data for the areas we're using as the base map, and use our sites combined and output it all to a attribute file. So call that sites as well, I suppose. Sites. And we can also output a geographic file for mapping those sites and contours for the data we've used. So let's output that, output geographic file, let's call it sites again, say. And we've defined our sites. We can also save those sites off. If I can find where it is. Symbol. So let's go up and map the data we've got. So we can do a map and sites for an attribute file, and say size sites, and our input sites is sites.out. Input sites geographic file was our output of the defined sites. And there we have them classified according to the amalgamated attribute data for those sites. And you can do things like overlay. You can overlay, say, your base map data on it. And there we've got our base map underneath it all. So you can do the usual thing, flick through your various attribute data, and this data of course has been accumulated according to your sites data. You can also overlay other line segments, which is from the sites. Line number 3, say. And it's on the sites. The other thing is the contours, and the other contours that you use to generate those sites. And you should also, I think, be able to put the names from the sites file. And there you've got the names on for the various sites you defined.